Good evening, everybody. I'm going to call to order the regular village board meeting for August 24th, 2021. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Lana, roll call, please.
Mayor DeBold.
Here.
Trustees Brockman.
Here.
Carroll.
Here.
Chapman.
Here.
Kirkland. Here. Lambert. Here. And Luciano.
Here. Thank you. Everybody's here. We have a quorum. Next item would be citizens. Are there any citizens wishing to address the village board? If not, we do have Tasha from the Plainfield Shorewood Chamber. So please.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, trustees. I just have a quick little thank you on behalf of the Plainfield Shorewood Area Chamber of Commerce staff and Board of Directors. I would like to thank Mayor C.C. DeBold, the Village Board, along with Village Administration, Public Works Department, Police Department, and the Troy Fire Department for all your help and support of the 45th Annual Crossroads Fest. This event only happens because of volunteers and support of the village. With all that has gone on the past year and having to miss the 2020's event, I know that it was very important that the Chamber be able to bring this event back to the community. The Chamber might be the presenting organization, but there were many other groups out there throughout the weekend helping. Thank you to the Plainfield Lions Club, the Shorewood Kiwanis Club, Coldwell Banker, Shorewood Hugs, Plainfield Kiwanis Club, Knights of Columbus, and Manuka Explorers for coming out and supporting in all the ways that you did. A huge public thank you to Carol Wagner, the past director of the Chamber, for her continued support and guidance of this event this past year. I thank you for all that you did. To all the committee members, many of you are here tonight and played a major role in helping this be successful. Jim Partham and Public Works Department, Deputy Chief Jason Barton, Chief Kalima. I know jokingly all weekend you told me that you kept us in our little Shorewood bubble, and I truly appreciate that. For those of you that don't know, we got through the whole entire event without it raining until we literally put the last thing underneath the tent, so thank you for that. To Diane Lambert, one of our village trustees, and chamber board members, Kelly Chrissy, and the rest of our chamber board who headed up a portion of the event, which are Jim Sir, Eric Marsalia, Bruce Kirshner, Anna Hullinger, Adam Underhill, and my assistant Vitella Barnes, along with other board members who volunteered throughout the weekend. With the merge of the Plainfield and Shorewood Chamber back in April, I stood here with one of our board members stating that this event would go on. And it did, and it was one of the most successful events that we've had. We look forward to continuing this event each year and working closely with the village. I have said it many times and will continue. Having the support of you all is key, and I really, truly thank you for that and helping us with a very successful event a couple weeks ago. So I do have to present just a picture, if I can bring this up to you. This is the first ribbon cutting that you got to be as mayor.
Oh, boy. Well, thank you very much. And with all due respect, let's not forget our very own Trustee Chapman was the Grand Marshal of the parade with 20 years of service as mayor and 8 years prior to that. So let's not forget that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Are there any other citizens wishing to address the village board? Seeing none, let's move on to tonight's consent agenda. Item 1, approval of the regular meeting minutes for August 10th, 2021. Approval of accounts payable in the amount of $560,900.96. Approval of the second and final payment in the amount of $1,905.81 for the Shorewood Cares Small Business Relief Program, Round 2. Approval of a bond refund in the amount of $69,192 to Narmada USA LLC for the La Quinta Inn. Approval of a payment in the amount of $18,000 to Melrose Pyrotechnics for the fireworks display that was at the fest. And approval of a payment in the amount of $26,409 to Core & Main for water meters. Is there any item that a trustee would like removed or has questions?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion Luciano, second Carol. Roll call, please.
Carol,
Yes.
Chapman. Yes. Kirkland,
Yes.
Lambert,
Yes.
Luciano,
Yes.
and Brockman.
Yes.
Motion carries. Bills will be paid. Reports and communications. Lana, is there anything specifically addressed to us?
No.
Proclamations, we are going to address that in a moment under the order of business. So moving on to tonight's order of business. Item number 1, consideration for approval of a resolution of the Village of Shorewood, Will County, Illinois, honoring James Relia. Resolution 21R1030. This will be a resolution of the Village of Shorewood, Will County, Illinois, honoring James Relia. Now be it hereby remembered that James Relia truly and faithfully served the Village of Shorewood, Will County, Illinois, as a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission from November 9th, 1999 to August 4th, 2021. Whereas Jim, during his 22 years of service, devoted many hours of his time and talents on the Planning and Zoning Commission, member by overseeing matters regarding plan reviews, zoning district changes, variances, and conditional uses, and making prudent decisions on issues brought before the Planning and Zoning Commission. And whereas Jim did promote the general welfare of Shorewood citizenry and did conserve property values through sound interpretation and enforcement of Shorewood zoning and subdivision ordinances. Whereas Jim made substantial contributions to the periodic updates of the Village Comprehensive Plan, with attention to detail and architectural standards, and always strive to make the Village of Shorewood a better place for all that live and work within its borders. Now therefore be it resolved by the Village President and Board of Trustees of the Village of Shorewood, Will County, Illinois, that the Village of Shorewood does hereby express its sincere appreciation to Jim for his unselfish dedication and devotion to the people of the Village of Shorewood, and gives recognition to his outstanding contributions. Be it further resolved that Jim shall carry with him the blessings and gratitude of this village and its residents in all of his future endeavors. Be it further resolved that this resolution, upon its adoption, be spread in full upon the records of the Village of Shorewood, and the clerk of the village is hereby directed to deliver Jim's Relia a signed copy thereof. Approved the 24th day of August 2021. Take a motion.
I'll
make the motion.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Rick.
I'll make the motion because I've worked with Jim through almost every project, every major project that's been with the Village Hall. He's going to be one that's really missed over in that group. And it's been an honor to serve with you, Jim. Really has. So I'd like to
I'll second that.
you second that.
Motion Chapman, second Brockman. Roll call, please.
Chapman,
Yes.
Yes.
Lambert,
Yes.
Luciano,
Yes.
Brockman,
Yes.
and Carol.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I'm glad you did come in person for the honor because you deserve to be honored at a public meeting and be here for it. So I'm glad we waited.
Absolutely.
And by all means, thank you. We've already got we were anticipating a full approval, so we wanted to have that ready for you.
Jim, before you say anything, I just, if you remember, Trustee Chapman was your chair at the time when you came on board, and Nick Nadoka, we're going back a few years. Nick
a
Nadoka
few.
was your vice chair.
Yeah.
And Mayor Bertha Hofer appointed you. And so it's been 22 great years. And what you see in Shorewood now, I mean, there wasn't much here compared to now, and you've been part of that. We thank you for that, and you will be truly missed. And if you'd like to speak, take a few minutes, go right ahead.
Thank you all. It has been my honor and privilege to work with this community. You know, it's hard to believe it's been 22 years. We lived in the house 28 years in total, and when we came to Shorewood, my wife and I our 3 children, we were involved. We were involved with the school. We were involved with, first with Shorewood soccer, making sure the kids were taken care of. I remember working with Sini on developing, she had plans to develop Four Seasons Park. She came to the soccer board and said, hey, will you guys support us? And we're like, great. And I know a lot of people thought, why would we want to build a park out there? Well, look at what we have now. Look at what you have now. As you said, Rick, Bertha appointed me. I remember the interview with her, and it was very grueling. I mean, she I jokingly make that she was very kind. She wanted to make sure that I was sincere and what were my intentions of coming on the board. And I enjoyed working with her and then being part of the school board where we ultimately named a school after her in her honor for the things that she did for this community. This has truly been a community of a lot of caring people like yourselves, and I'm proud to have served with you. Rick, first as a trustee on that commission, with you, Steve, on that commission, and then as mayor. Mayor DeBold, you were great to work with as a trustee. Sorry I'm not working any further, but family comes first, and we're moving closer to the kids and looking to maybe slow down a little bit. I don't know with what, but I'm sure I'll find something to fill my time, because as my wife, who's here with me tonight, knows, I don't, there's 2 speeds for me, stop and go 100 miles an hour. So I'm always going to be involved in something. And again, I'm very proud of having served and been reappointed as often as I was. And I know as I look back, the community and where I've been is better than when I got there. And that was the goal. So thank you all. It's been my pleasure and my honor. And I will always throw out, if there's anything any of you need or any questions you have, give me a call. You guys know, you've worked with me. Just give me a call. I'll be happy to help, happy to jump in. It's not that far of a drive. I can be here. So thank you all, and good luck.
Thank you.
Gonna miss you.
No, you need something, you let me know.
Yes, same with you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure and an honor, man.
Thank you.
Good luck. Steve.
Thank you, Jim, very much. Good luck to you.
Good luck, Jim.
By all means, thank you.
Good luck to you.
Enjoy some retirement time.
Good luck, Jim. Thank you.
Thanks for your help on that and everything.
Okay, thank you.
All right, our next order of business be item number 2, consideration for approval of an ordinance reducing the number of Class A liquor licenses. This was the liquor license that was held by Good Eats on the Go. We are looking just to eliminate it. This is more of a housekeeping matter. We generally do strike down the one that has, from a business that has closed. If there's any questions, or if not, we'll take a motion to move.
Move to approve an ordinance reducing the number of Class A liquor licenses and waive the second read.
Second.
Motion Kirkland, second Lambert. Roll call, please.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Lambert.
Yes.
Luciano.
Yes.
Brockman.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
And Chapman.
Yes.
Motion approved. We reduced the Class A license. Item number 3, consideration for approval of a contract with Muscat Painting not to exceed $50,000 for the 2021 annual street lighting repainting program. Looking to waive the bid process. Director Noriega.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. So we're putting together our annual street light repainting program. We're targeting Route 52, Mound, Sile roads, and we're intending to paint approximately 49 street lights. We requested quotes from 10 different contractors in the area. 3 bids were received, ranging from $41,000 all the way up to $97,000. 1 declined and 6 did not submit quotes. Just in this contract here, we're looking at a little bit different, where we spec'd out two different paints. One is for Sherwin-Williams, and the other one is a little bit higher quality Carboline product. The quote that we received, the low quote that we received is from Muscat Painting in the amount of $41,268.38, and that's for both paints. We have a $50,000 budget for this fiscal year for this work. We're recommending award of the contract to Muscat Painting not to exceed $50,000 and waive the bid process for our 2021 annual street repainting program. Any questions?
I had a question, Ariel.
Yes, sir.
How many of these, do we have more after this that we have to paint? Is there more still there?
Well, we have only inspected our high profile, and yes, there's going to be a lot more to continue painting as the paint wears out on our existing lights.
All right, we've repainted some a year ago or 2 years ago, I believe.
In 2016,
How are those holding up? Are those going to need to be repainted again?
yes, soon.
This is going to be a maintenance thing from now on?
What's difficult with these street lights, especially on our Route 52, on Route 59, it's a little bit different than on our residential roadways. Where during our snowplow operations, our snowplows on residential streets usually travel at about 10, maybe 15 miles an hour. Whereas on the highways, and we don't control IDOT, they are traveling at a much higher speed. So they are spraying the salt and throwing that snow with the salt and other aggregates, and it is hitting our light poles. So when you do inspect those light poles along Route 59, Route 52, you'll see a lot of damage right at that lower end of that pole.
Damage to the paint?
Yes. So this will be an ongoing maintenance.
I'm asking this question because I don't know what the cost of a pole is. But if this is going to be an ongoing maintenance over the years, it could get relatively expensive. What does it cost, maybe, say, to replace one pole?
$7,000 to $10,000 for the decorative.
One pole?
Yes. Now, if you choose to go with a normal 28-foot, 35-foot aluminum spun streetlight, we can probably get down to around the $4,000 to $5,000, maybe even $6,000. But the decorative streetlights, the version that you use here in the village that is our standard, is on the higher side because of the aesthetics.
Is this customary in every town for them to have to repaint their poles?
It depends on how you want the look of the village to look like.
No, that's not the question I asked you. I asked you, is it customary they have to constantly repaint them?
At my previous employment, we were repainting our downtown in the central business district.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
I noticed the ones on 59 near Sile Road, has work been done to those recently?
The last time that I'm aware of that it was painted was in 2016.
Well, the ones that are, when you come up, getting off of 55, the ones that are on the right-hand side, I went by there recently and they were peeled and everything. They didn't look very good. But then it seemed like the other day when I went by there, it looked like somebody may have dabbed some paint or something on those poles. And I noticed that's not part of this program, but that's coming right into the village as well on 59.
No, we have not done any painting this year or last year.
Is
I'll
there a
take a look
reason
at
why
it.
those poles are not included in this?
We were targeting the ones that have been, where staff have identified to us that these are the worst condition. And so we only have a budget of approximately $50,000. So we picked the worst of the worst.
Well, I noticed one of the rings around the base of that on 59 is smashed in as well. So
Okay,
I
I'll
was
take a
just
look.
curious.
59 in Sile?
Yeah, it's north of Sile, the one that looks like somebody hit it. It's not a big dent, but it's noticeable.
I'll take a look.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I'll make the motion to approve of a contract award to Muscat Painting not to exceed $50,000 for the 2021 annual street lighting streetlight repainting program and waive the bid process.
Second.
Motion Lambert, second Luciano. Roll call, please.
Lambert,
Yes?
Luciano,
Yes.
Brockman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
and Kirkland.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. All right, moving into our reports. Some of our department heads. Building Department, John Komorowski.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have one item. The building department filled the inspector position being vacated by Patrick Lambert. As you all are aware, Patrick is retiring at, his official last day will be Friday, September 3rd. His last day in the office will be Tuesday, August 31st, so a week from today. Our new inspector is Les Goslin. He began with the village yesterday. Les is coming to us most recently from Streator, Illinois. Les is familiar with the village as he worked for H.R. Green when H.R. Green was contracted to do the plan review and inspections with the village, so he's familiar with the town as well as our procedures. Prior to being an inspector, Les had many years working in the building trades as a carpenter and a general contractor. So Les will be with one of the inspectors this week just to familiarize himself with the town and ongoing projects, and he should be a good addition to the team we have in place now. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Community Development, Kelly Chrissy.
Good evening. So on the dais, I did put some census results. So it's a spreadsheet. You'll see there's a number of communities in addition to Shorewood on that list. And so what I want to highlight is the fact that Shorewood is in this selected list of adjacent and some of our comparable communities. We are actually the third fastest growing community over the last decade. So while some of the numbers may be less because we are a smaller community, we do, in terms of the population growth, we are actually one of the fastest growing communities, again, for this selected group here. One other thing I wanted to just highlight is that we had our comprehensive plan request for proposals. Those proposals were due on Friday. We received 4 consultant teams and proposals, so we are going through the process now of evaluating those in order to form a recommendation to bring to the board for your consideration sometime next month. And then finally, at the last Committee of the Whole meeting, Trustee Luciano did request an update on the TIF district. And so we are actually going to be bringing that forward once our audit is in and once we have compiled our annual report, then we'll be bringing that report forward to the board just as an update, and we'll look to do this on an annual basis consistent with that annual reporting process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Finance, Ms. Burkholder.
Thank you, Mayor. Very quickly, I did want to draw your attention to one item in the finance memo that was part of your board packet. Our sales tax results month over month from the current year to the past year, you'll notice have grown substantially. Going back to the January returns received in April, $60,000 a month. For that month higher, the highest was March to June at $146,000 increase over the same month last year. Some of that, of course, is the impacts of the early stages of the pandemic. The other impact, we believe, is the change in how online transactions are, sales tax is recorded for online transactions. Beginning this January, that changed, so the sales are recorded, in most cases, the sales are recorded here in Shorewood, and we get our correct share of sales tax and correct share of home rule sales tax for those transactions. So if you have any questions about it, please let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Parks, Katie Fitzgerald's here.
Good evening. The fall newsletter is out now, and it should be in your mailboxes. It is also available on our website, and fall programming registration is open. As a reminder, our first movie night will be this Friday in Town Center Park at 6:30. We'll be showing American Graffiti, and we'll have a cruise night around the square. If you're interested in bringing your car out for the cruise night, please give us a call. We are keeping a list so we can have a tally of how many cars to expect to come. Alongside that, our car show will be Saturday, September 11th at Seni's Four Seasons Park from 10 to 3. Registration will run from 9 to 11, and it'll be $10 for each car. And this year, we're going to have Blast from the Past come play. We'll have a live band instead of the usual DJ, so that should be a nice change. And then our fall garage sale is September 17th to 18th. Registration is open, and the deadline for that will end on September 10th.
Thank you. To our police department, Deputy Chief Allen is here.
I have nothing to report. Do you have any questions for me while I'm up here? Nothing flashy from the police department. Just the guys and gals are doing their thing,
Everybody's behaving.
day in and day out. Yep.
You'd like to hear.
Kids,
good
kids
news.
doing all right?
The kids?
You okay?
Yeah. All
Thank
good.
you.
You're welcome.
Public Works, Director Noriega.
Thank you. Good evening again. So besides what's in the actual Public Works monthly report, things that we've been working on recently, we've been receiving a lot of complaints on the weeds at a lot of our parks. Now that we're full staff at our Parks Department, they are working diligently. We're trying to address each and every one of our parks, one park at a time. They are going through all the mulch and addressing all the weeds. Give us a little bit of time, but we're playing catch up a little bit. So far to date, we've finished Huntington, Kitts Corner, River Oaks, and we'll continue with the Kipling parks, and we'll also continue with the other parks throughout the village, including Four Seasons, Seni's Four Seasons. The MFT, our pavement marking striping contract, our resurfacing. All the striping is completed throughout the village, which also includes the striping at Black and Shorewood at our traffic signal project. So that traffic signal, we've notified the electrical contractor, and we'll be scheduling the turn on for that signal hopefully next week. Pickleball, tennis should be open. They were out there working on the nets and installing the windscreens. I think the only thing that they may not have finished since I left early this afternoon was the windscreens on the tennis court, but the nets are in, so it should be open for our programming for our Parks and Recreation. The IDOT northbound 59 over I-55 project, that bridge that they are installing, they just finished moving into what they call Stage 1 maintenance of traffic. So now that allows them and created the construction zone in the middle of I-55, so they'll start the middle columns. So that is still ongoing. The dam removal at Hamel Woods is just about complete. They're approximately 90% complete. The dam is gone. The new canoe launch is installed, and they're just performing miscellaneous cleanup and landscape restoration throughout the forest in that area. The Black Bridge pedestrian bridge, the never-ending project. Seriously, I'm not making this up, but there is more delays. So the bridge no longer is anticipated to be this week, but they've now moved it after Labor Day. They promised, like they've been promising for a while. But that is, again, scheduled for after Labor Day weekend. That's all I have. Any questions?
I have a comment.
Yes.
The pickleball courts were in use when I came up here tonight. And the tennis courts were also in use. And the basketball court. Everything was in use, as hot as it was. Everything was
That's great to hear.
being used, so
It's great to hear.
it was good to see.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Interim Administrator Klima.
So a couple of items. There we go. Three things. Number one, schools are all back in session for our local community. I've been in contact with the principals and superintendents, and everything's, going fine, traffic-wise, bus-wise. police departments, change their routines to cover all that sort of stuff, and they're very satisfied with the crossing guard lights, which we are not with crossing guards, but the speed reduction lights for the speed zones and all that sort of stuff. So good news there. Second thing, work continues on the legislative proposals for the Regional Water Commission project. We have another meeting next week on the 2nd that we should see and be discussing the final draft of the legislation. Dave Silverman has been an active participant representing us and making sure that that legislation is as ideal as we can. Our concurrence with that legislation when it comes won't obligate us to membership at all. We're just saying that this legislation is something that we can get behind and support. And we have regional support from our legislators in the area to support this legislation to move that project ahead. The next step with that, once that's done, will be the intergovernmental agreement and the water purchase agreement that we'll be discussing with our partners in the coming months. So we'll be talking more about that in the days to come. And lastly, an item that's of significance to us that might have escaped our attention, but the Will County Governmental League hosted a meeting this week. We were invited, and it was solely for the purpose of CN Railroad to inform us that they are in the process of acquiring and purchasing Kansas City Southern Railroad. Now, that may not sound like a big deal, but the CN line to our west, it's generally considered our western boundary, could get a little more busy. So that's something that we're going to have to pay attention to in the future. It has impacts for us taking utilities in our westward growth. It has impacts for the traffic crossings and pedestrian crossings when we feel that we need them in due time. And we're going to have to be very aware of that and work with the railroad to make sure that all our needs are met. They've committed to a dialogue with us. I think we're going to have another opportunity to talk to them and their team here in September or October. The acquisition of this merger, so to speak, will not happen for 18 to 24 months, and I'm not sure what we can expect by way of impacts and how soon, but we'll be monitoring that, and we'll let you guys know if there's anything that we need to be concerned about.
Any questions for Aaron? All right, let's move into trustee comments. Trustee Brockman.
Thank you, Mayor. We will be having planning and zoning meeting on September 1st, 7 o'clock here at the village, and Kelly indicates we have 2 agenda items: text amendment to Title 11 land subdivisions and comprehensive plan preparation. I was able to make the La Quinta ribbon cutting. I didn't get there quite in time to see the ribbon cut, but the trustees were well attended. Diane, or Trustee Lambert, and Trustee Carroll and Trustee Luciano, beside myself, were there. And I had 3 or 4 members from planning and zoning there, so it was a good turnout from the village. And they showed us around, and a fabulous place finally, so looks real good. And as far as planning and zoning goes, we're looking for another candidate, and I've given you a resume of one candidate I think would be good, so we're going to see if we can get him on board, and hopefully by the next meeting we can bring him forward to put him on the board, so to replace some real big shoes. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Carroll.
It's probably little old news, but going back to the water leak that we had recently over on Birch Drive, I did talk to 2 of the residents over there, and they were extremely complimentary of the crew. They were telling them how to do things and so forth and so on. So I think there's some restoration work yet to be done there, but nothing but good things said. So
Very good to hear. If I recall, those guys were out there till about 2 or 3 in the morning, from what I gathered.
Yeah.
So they had a long night. So
yeah,
glad to hear that. Thank you,
all
Trustee.
good.
Trustee Chapman.
It's going to be a little lengthy, Mayor.
Okay.
So if you bear with me.
Sure.
This isn't me. I mean, the issue that I'm going to try to hand off to you tonight is an investigation. Okay.
Okay.
And this like I say, this is difficult for me, so I wrote things down. So if you just kind of bear with me here. Okay, last year at this time, or a little prior to this, I became aware of a safety code enforcement issue, okay? I was never able to finalize my investigation that I began in July. The pandemic started and got out of hand, so my priorities switched from one issue that I thought was super important to the priority of 17,000 people and the residents, and what I could possibly do to help us get through that pandemic. Apparently we didn't, because we're headed back in. But then I personally became a victim of the virus and was very ill for over 2 months, okay? We did our meetings on the phone for that period of time. It wasn't really time to get back into this investigation, so it was around this time I decided not to seek the re-election as mayor, and because I wanted to stay involved, decided to run for trustee. The election took time, and shortly after it, I suffered a stroke and have been recovering ever since. The reason I now bring this forward is because a person who intimately was involved is leaving our employment. And because he did the right thing, as far as I'm aware, he should be interviewed about this issue. I would also request the mayor, as I did in that position, to take the lead or at least give the board direction on how to proceed. I've got a couple of recommendations. My recommendation would be, first, the safety violation needs to be corrected. And it needs to be corrected immediately, unless this entire board agrees not to correct it. Not one individual. Number two, because it puts people in jeopardy, children, elderly people, in jeopardy of their health and safety because of this violation, I'd like to check with the state's attorney's office to see if there should be a criminal investigation, because this is an ordinance violation that knowingly puts people in harm's way. Number three, our internal investigation should be handled by an independent investigator, not our own legal staff. Number four, a progress report should be given at all future board meetings as to the status of this case and about the people who knew about it and said nothing, or were involved in it and did nothing. So I've gathered, I've got my notes. I'll have them in your mailbox tomorrow,
Okay, yeah.
along with all the information and any memos I've got to give to you. And I'd gladly sit down with you and talk about it, okay?
That's fine. Can you, what do you?
Well,
what is
I
it?
don't want to
know-
give names, addresses, and that until an investigation is begun.
Can you give us an
By
idea
you.
of what the topic even is? What, I know you referenced a safety violation of
The
some sort.
topic is a stair riser, 400% out of any type of, well, the stair can be 3/8 inches out. This is over 2 inches out. An 82-year-old person could take a head dive off of that and be killed.
No, that's fine. I'll gladly follow up with you and follow up with the attorney as to how the best approach would be, and we'll bring it back to the board.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Kirkland.
Thank you. I just had a comment about the Shorewood connection. By now, everybody, like Katie said, should have gotten it in their mailbox. There's a lot of information in here, general information about the village. There's a lot of stuff that's covered in here that I see questions on social media all the time. So everybody has this information now in their household, and I just think it's good reading, and it's something to kind of hang on to and kind of refer back to. And I'm just encouraging the residents to take a look at it. That's all.
Thank you. Trustee Lambert.
I just have one thing. I want to acknowledge and to thank John Komorowski, his entire building department, for the work they did on La Quinta, the motel that just opened up in March. I just don't think they got the acknowledgement that they deserve. It was a 3-year-long project, and I know they spent many, many visits and, doing inspections and re-inspections, and I think they did a fabulous job, and the place is beautiful.
Wonderful, thank you. Trustee Luciano.
First of all, I wanted to mention, as Steve did, that we had visited La Quinta's grand opening. They took us on a tour of the building and the different amenities that they have there. It was very interesting, and I think they're going to be a good addition to our community, help bring some people into the community and help us be recognized more than we already are. Other than that, the only other thing I have is that the Citizens Advisory Committee will be meeting September 23rd here in the Village Hall on the second floor. And if anyone's interested in getting involved in it, they can contact myself or anyone on the committee through the village website. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
I do have one other item.
Sure, go ahead.
While we were doing the tour,
Yep.
one of the employees there that had been staying there for the grand opening, we asked them if there was any noise coming from the shooting range next door. Her room was back in that corner, and she said there was absolutely no noise coming from there. So I thought that was positive, so.
No, thank you for that added comment there, thank you. And I know the administrator was unable to get to that grand opening. He was at that CN event. I already had a prior obligation, so I couldn't get there, but I'm glad to hear we had numerous trustees able to attend. I heard there were some chamber members there as well, so I'm glad to see we had a good presence there. With that, we're going to move into executive session to discuss some possible land acquisition. There will be no action taken after executive. We will adjourn from executive, but I do need a motion to go into executive, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion Luciano, second Carol, roll call, please.
Luciano,
Yes.
Brockman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Lambert.
Yes?
All right, we will move into executive.
Are we going to go into conference?